Tensions rise in Parliament as Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer clash over key policy issues. In a fiery session of Prime Minister's Questions, PMQs, at the House of Commons this week, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer engaged in one of their most intense exchanges, yet a moment that captured both the friction of modern British politics and the urgency of the issues facing the nation. What began as a routine political back-and-forth quickly escalated into a full-scale confrontation, with both leaders pulling no punches on matters ranging from the economy and immigration to public trust in government. While no emotional outbursts or dramatic breakdowns occurred, the gravity of the exchange and its implications was not lost on those in attendance or the millions who watched online. The central theme of the session was the cost of living, an issue that remains front and center for households across the UK. Keir Starmer opened by grilling the Prime Minister on the rising cost of energy bills and groceries, pointing to recent statistics showing that working families are struggling to keep up. "People are doing everything right," Starmer said, "working longer hours, budgeting carefully, and yet they're still falling behind. When will this government stop pretending everything is fine?" Rishi Sunak responded by outlining the measures his government has taken, including the extension of energy bill support and adjustments to tax thresholds. He defended his economic strategy as targeted, responsible, and focused on long-term growth. Yet, Starmer pressed further, accusing the Conservatives of being out of touch with ordinary voters. "It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet," he said. "It's about people. Real lives." The conversation then shifted to immigration policy, an area where the two parties have grown increasingly divided. Sunak defended his government's stance on border control and the controversial Rwanda plan, calling it a firm but fair deterrent against illegal crossings. Starmer countered by framing the approach as costly and ineffective, advocating instead for increased investment in processing systems and international cooperation. They also sparred over the state of the NHS, with Starmer citing wait times and staffing shortages as proof of what he called a decade of neglect. Sunak acknowledged the challenges but pointed to the recruitment of thousands of new nurses and doctors, along with record investment into NHS services. The debate reflected the broader ideological divide between the two leaders, one prioritizing tighter controls and fiscal conservatism, the other advocating for systemic reform and investment in public services. Observers noted the sharp tone of the session, particularly Sunak's assertiveness in pushing back against Labour's critiques. While Starmer remained composed, there were moments where his frustration was evident, not in a personal or emotional sense, but in the urgency of his messaging. Political analysts commented that both leaders were under pressure: Starmer, to prove Labour is ready for government, and Sunak, to convince voters that his party still offers stability amid ongoing economic uncertainty. Despite the intensity, the debate remained within the bounds of parliamentary decorum. There were no personal attacks or inappropriate language, but the pointed nature of the exchanges highlighted just how high the stakes are in the run-up to the next general election. Reaction to the debate was swift and widespread. Political commentators from all sides weighed in, with some praising Starmer for holding the government accountable, while others applauded Sunak's detailed rebuttals and policy confidence. On social media, the moment trended throughout the day, with hashtags related to both leaders drawing thousands of comments. Many users appreciated the return to policy-driven debate, noting that while the tension was palpable, the focus remained on issues that genuinely affect people's lives. In particular, younger viewers on platforms like TikTok and YouTube highlighted specific moments such as Starmer's critique of NHS funding and Sunak's defense of fiscal planning as standout points that made them feel more engaged with politics than usual. Though it lacked the theatrics that sometimes dominate political headlines, this session served as a reminder of what democracy looks like when it works leaders engaging in rigorous, issue-based debate under the scrutiny of the public eye. With the general election on the horizon, these moments matter. They offer voters a clear comparison between competing visions for the country's future and the ability to see how their elected officials handle pressure, articulate policy, and respond to criticism. For both Sunak and Starmer, the path forward will depend on more than strong words in the Commons. Each will need to translate debate into deliverables, tangible results that restore faith in politics and speak to the everyday struggles of the electorate. As political temperatures rise and campaigns begin to take shape, one thing is clear: voters are paying attention. Whether you lean left, right, or somewhere in between, debates like these are your opportunity to assess leadership, values, and credibility. If you found this analysis helpful and want more fact-based political coverage, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And let us know in the comments who made the stronger case this week in Parliament. Stay informed, Stay engaged.